Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the DLF Trade Show, a continuation of the best show ever because we are doing part two. Yes, you heard me. This is just one long episode from last week. You can't tell, but we've been talking the entire time. We've changed clothes, thankfully, unlike last time where we just stretched it out. But no, yep, Addison and I have been here talking for 7 days, trying to get this down, trying to get this ready for all of you. And we're here. We're ready for it. We are going on to part two of impending free agent wide receivers because honestly, we both love wide receivers and there's just too many good people to talk about. So we're just like, we're going to keep going. So we're going to keep going because I mean, it's our show and we decide what to do.
Yeah. I mean, we couldn't omit some of these guys. It's going to make us sad, but we can't omit them. We need to talk about them.
We love publicly torturing ourselves. That's what this comes down to. We are just like, it's funny. And I'm not even lying about this. We had two topics to talk about and Addison made me choose which it was. And my answer was, I feel like I could use a good cry over a loud scream. So let's go with wide receivers. Like that's how we chose what show to do today. And you'll see in the near future, I am sure, the episode that will make me want to scream. And let's go, right? So impending free agent wide receivers. And this is a guy who we both love. Mm-hmm. This is a guy who was tagged, I think, this year.
I think so, yes.
Was tagged this year, did not want to be on that team, and he showed it. We are, of course, talking about the signed jersey you do not see behind me because I'm far too lazy, but I have it, and it's just ready to hang, of Allen Robinson. Oh, Allen Robinson. Like, this man has been a top 10 fantasy wide receiver with some of the worst quarterbacks in the league. And yes, the Bears offense has been pretty bad, even though they have now Justin Fields, who will be awesome, especially thank you for getting rid of Matt Nagy, Chicago. But that doesn't even matter anymore because
did they get rid of Pace too?
Yes, they did.
Oh, yes. Let's go Chicago.
Let's go Chicago. But it doesn't matter because there's no way A-Rob's going back. Mm-hmm. So A-Rob is going to be 29 going into next season. So he is old.
Yes. Very old.
I had heavy air quotes because that's not old. And coming off of an insanely disappointing year, it's going to be tough for his value to match what his potential can be, because Allen Robinson is very talented enough to be able to walk into a new team and still do really well. But I feel like everyone's going to be too scared. So his value is going to be low. But let's just get to it, right? I mean, let's go through our first trade as a 10-team Superflex league where Allen Robinson and a 22 second was traded for Jerry Jeudy. Allen Robinson is worth 146.3, the second 113.5. Even because it's a 2-for-1, we're going to take away the package adjustment because I'm sure that doesn't come into play right here. Mm-hmm. So we are talking about a total of 260. Jerry Jeudy is 288.4. Now, I saw this. It's really funny because, like I said, we chose this subject because we were ready to cry, and I'm like, this wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Like, I gotta be honest, like, I can see this going down in a league and being completely okay with it, because I think I've shown my Jerry Jeudy bias on this show. Like, I am full-on believer. I am ready for him to ascend. I think he's great. Denver, go out and get Rodgers or Wilson and let's do it. Let's go. And chances are that's not happening. Let's put it like that's what I'm building in my head to make me feel better about it, to make me happy at the idea of the amount of Jeudy shares I have. Jerry Jeudy, what he is now, Allen Robinson, with everything I said, just the fact that you're getting 6 years younger and maybe probably close to equal production, I think the second bridges that perfectly, and I'm super good with this trade.
Yeah, it is really good. And honestly, I was also very surprised when I saw this trade in the Trade Finder that this actually went down, because I feel like this is the very high end of Allen Robinson's current trade value.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of picked this one. And the next one kind of is pretty high as well. And it kind of shows, if you have Allen Robinson and you want to sell him, some of the things that you might be able to get. And, you know, moving from A-Rob down 6-7 years, like you said, to Jerry Jeudy, and taking just as much of a dart throw on what his production could be and what his value and everything could be with potentially a new quarterback as well. makes a lot of sense in Dynasty because they're just basically similar assets, just 6-7 years apart. So
Yeah.
I love this trade as well. I know the analyzer says that it's about 50-60 points of difference, but that's basically fair in the Dynasty world. And I really like it. And I was very surprised that somebody got this done.
Would you trade away Judy for this, regardless of the position of your team?
Regardless of the position of my team?
Well, I mean, because you're not doing it if you're rebuilding. You're not giving away Judy for a second and an old guy, I don't think. Unless you're that out on Judy. And if you're competing, is it worth it to get Allen Robinson and that second instead of just holding on to Judy?
I think you really have to think that the Broncos situation is not going to fix itself this year. You know, that they're not getting Aaron Rodgers. They're not getting Russell Wilson. I know everybody wants to believe and just automatically put A-Rod on, you know, the Broncos and just call it a day. And Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton's just return to, just right through the roof. You have to really think that that's not going to happen. And if it's another year of a Teddy Bridgewater light quarterback, if it's Jimmy Garoppolo, if it's, you know, Carson Strong or Kenny Pickett or somebody like that, like that's
stop making up names.
That's still not going to fix anything in Denver. Whereas Allen Robinson, for the second time in his career, can actually choose who his quarterback is. And I think that he learned his lesson from going from Blake Bortles to Mitch Trubisky. So I think he's going to choose, you know, a place where he can actually succeed with a quarterback that can actually get him the ball. And my hope is that that's somewhere pretty solid, like Kansas City, Green Bay, if Aaron Rodgers is still there, you know, Chargers, if they let Mike Williams go, somewhere like that. And then that spike in Allen Robinson's value makes up for the 7-year age difference. On top of the fact that you get a second round pick, which, you know, in a 10-team Superflex, like the 2.05 is like the 2.03 in a 12-team Superflex. So that's not like the worst pick in the world in a semi-deep draft, kind of like last year, where there's not really a whole bunch of top-end talent, but there's a lot more, like a lot of deep talent. So it's not terrible.
You just made me think of the one situation that would make me feel okay if the Chargers did not re-sign Mike Williams.
Allen Robinson.
Is if Allen Robinson went there.
Yep.
Okay, let's go on to the next trade, where it is straight up Allen Robinson for Elijah Mitchell. I think this is kind of perfect also, because Allen Robinson is a little bit of a dart throw, and Elijah Mitchell, the San Francisco backfield is a little bit of a dart throw. We know nothing right now. We know that they like Elijah Mitchell, but Mostert is 1,000 years old, always hurt, and a free agent. Jeff Wilson, same. And then there's Trey Sermon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really all they got in their backfield. They have to bring someone in which case the second they bring anyone in, they're going to bring in like Devonta Freeman, and we're all going to freak out that, oh no, they brought in another running back. And it's going to hurt Mitchell's value. Like that's just the honest reality. So these two are a bit of a dart throw. The analyzer has Mitchell at 162.7, so he should be higher than Robinson. I can see this going through and everyone being like, oh, I'd much rather have Mitchell. But in reality, I think this is as close as the analyzer says.
See, I'm team.
I know you're team Mitchell. I know.
I feel like I've said this all the time, and maybe I should just stop picking Elijah Mitchell trades. But this is just another one of those trades where I feel like it's the high end of Allen Robinson's trade value. So if you're looking to sell him, this is kind of what you might want to try to get.
Yeah.
Because we could sit here and say, you know, go out and buy Allen Robinson and, you know, offer up like, you know, 2 third-round picks or Khalil Herbert and a third or something like that. You know, that's we could sit here and do that all day. But like, this is a pretty solid trade that might actually, you know, make people think about picking both sides, even with Allen Robinson included.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm team running back over here with my boy Elijah Mitchell. But it's a solid deal overall, especially if you are the person that believes that San Francisco brings in somebody else to compete with Elijah Mitchell. And
they have to.
They have to bring somebody in. And I'd say the same thing about the Broncos, because the Broncos have to bring somebody in. If they don't re-sign Melvin Gordon, all they have behind Javonte is Mike Boone and De'Maurier Crockett. Like that's they have to bring somebody else in. And when that happens, Mitchell's value is going to drop a little bit because, like you said, oh no, we don't know what Shanahan's going to do. And they signed Le'Veon Bell, and oh man, he's going to take touches away from Elijah Mitchell. As long as it's not Ronald Jones or Melvin Gordon, that type of running back, where it's not like a day 2.
I was about to say, like, draft him like round 5 and later, and I'll feel okay about it.
Yeah, one of those ones again. No, just bring in another Elijah Mitchell that you don't like as much.
Just not as good.
Exactly.
All right, our next wide receiver. You'd think we were doing just a Penn State pass catcher show because we're on to Chris Godwin, and he's tough. Like it sucks that he got hurt.
Yeah,
that's all I can say, because if he didn't, he would, besides Devontae Adams, be like a clear top tier free agent wide receiver. And he might still be in the NFL. It's just going to hurt his fantasy value not getting him right away, because I mean, he's hitting. I'm about to call him a 25, 26-year-old already. But like the way the rookie wide receivers are coming in, we don't feel the need to go get 26, 27-year-olds. And that's just the unfortunate truth, that these young guys are doing way too well. But the fact that you won't get Chris Godwin right away, I think dings his value in a way that won't reflect on the analyzer. But I guess let's see. Because the first trade we have is a 12-team, 1-quarterback league, where the trade is a pair of not anymore Buccaneers in Chris Godwin and Leonard Fournette. All right, cool. For Nick Chubb, the analyzer has this Godwin at 573.4, Leonard Fournette at 218. After the adjustment, 766.8, and Nick Chubb is at 675.7. I was about to say, if you saw Godwin for Chubb straight up, would you be okay with it? And I don't think I would. I still think it's Chubb. I don't care that he's a 27-ish year old running back. I don't care that the Browns like to go with multiple running backs. Nick Chubb's just that guy, and I'm good with that. So putting this together, yeah, I get it. Fournette at 218 is a little surprising. I got to be honest. Yeah, like that seems high. And if he was around that 130 area, 150, 60 area, this would be dead on, in which case, yeah. And if that's going to happen, I'm going with the wide receiver and the running back. Okay, so here's the thing. If you're trading Nick Chubb away for this, like, here's how I could see this happening. I have a very good team, and I have Nick Chubb. And I think Leonard Fournette is either going back to the the Buccaneers, which is a good situation for him, or someone's going to pay him to be their running back. Like, I don't think he's going to struggle to find a job, in which case taking that 70-80% of the production of Fournette to Chubb, and then wait a couple of weeks, and I have Chris Godwin on my team.
Yeah,
I think I'm pretty heavy on that side, even though I do love Nick Chubb.
Yeah, Nick Chubb to me has always been one of those running backs that I'd love to acquire, but then it's just so easy for me to move when somebody offers me like 2 firsts, and I'm like, all right. Or
it's just the downside of a great running back is the fact that he could rush for 98 yards or 120 yards, but it's still only 12 points. When that happens. Like, I remember one game where he didn't get used all that much, but he still ran for 98 yards. This was in the playoffs, and they were like very good runs. But it's just like, oh no, he had a good game, but that's gonna lose me this week. Only getting 9.8 points for my running back one. That's a little rough, and I think that's in everyone's mind when it comes to Nick Chubb, which is why, I mean, he's at 675.7, which is actually really good, but I don't think in real life we see him valued this much.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I would definitely take the Godwin Fournette side here. Are you under the impression that Godwin stays? Do you think both those players return to Tampa?
Especially now with Antonio Brown being, we'll just say, not with the team anymore. I think there's a better chance, but I honestly don't know. Wide receivers are so weird when they just decide to franchise tag them, even though it's so much money. Especially if Tom Brady comes back, which I assume he will, which means I think they might tag him if they have to.
Didn't he already get tagged? He would be second year tagged.
Oh, yeah, that'd be super expensive. Okay, then honestly, I'm not even going to pretend to guess. I have no idea. It would be good for him if he went back. I don't think he would have to sign with a really bad team with a really bad quarterback and have another good wide receiver across from him for me to feel bad about Chris Godwin. To me, he's a good enough route runner. He's good enough at getting open that he'll still be good as the good wide receiver with a bad quarterback. Clearly, that caps his ceiling, but I still like the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. I'm under the impression that both of those players returned to Tampa, in which case you said now we're kind of under the situation where Fournette could potentially equal or be plus or minus like 10 or 20% of Nick Chubb. Because he outscored Nick Chubb this year. Fournette was like a top 5 running back. I don't know if you're getting that production next year, but anyway, but you're getting that similar production between Fournette and Chubb at the same age as well. So if you view that kind of as, a wash in terms of your production, not so much the value, but the production, then you're getting Chris Godwin when he comes back in October, November, or something like that, based on ACL recovery and whatnot, and how fast Tampa Bay pushes him back if he does sign back in Tampa. Then I'm all aboard the Chris Godwin side here. It's just so hard to value him now because he has the free agency, he has the ACL injury now. So how does that impact his free agency? Yeah. And then if he does sign back with Tampa Bay, is Tom Brady back? There's like all these different little like microscopic things that boil into him just being a free agent and affecting his dynasty value. That's really weird right now. But I would still take Chris Godwin.
I need to ask a question that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I can't help it, though. It got in my head, and I know we're going to do free agent running backs soon, and I'm sure we're going to do Fournette, but I need to ask now. Let's pretend Brady comes back, and Tampa Bay signs Leonard Fournette to like a 3-year deal. Should he be valued as a top 10 running back? Should he be valued the same as Nick Chubb? He's on a deal.
You said that because of what I said, didn't you?
He's on it. Well, yeah, exactly.
They produce the same at the same age, so why are we not valuing them the same?
Exactly. Like the reason we're not is because we saw Leonard Fournette just get dropped from his original team. But now clearly those character issues are either gone or Tampa Bay just don't care, which we know they usually don't, as long as you don't take off your shirt and run off the field in the middle of the game. And like the year-to-year deals is clearly why we won't value him that high in Dynasty, because we care too much about the long term. But Nick Chubb probably has another 2 years on his contract. Let's say Fournette signs a 3-year deal, which usually means it's a 2-year deal. They're on the same contract, they're the same age, and their production isn't that different. Like there's
discrepancy.
Like that's just, I needed to say all that out loud because it just binged, and my head would actually explode if I didn't say it out loud. But let's go back to Chris Godwin. Man, you just love you some Elijah Mitchell, huh? Like,
I do.
You see him and oh man, he's in this trade. Let's grab him. 12-team super flex, Chris Godwin and Elijah Mitchell for Tyreek Hill. This comes in Chris Godwin 431.4, Elijah Mitchell 175.2. After the adjustment, 577.7. Tyreek Hill still in at 651. I don't know, man. Like this, is Kansas City not great now?
It's so weird because, like, that Tyreek Hill can go off at any point. Like, he literally just dropped like 11 for 150 and 2, and just put up like 50
for no
points
reason
for you,
whatsoever.
like on the weekly. He could just do that. He could do that in a half. He's done it in a half. And then there's those other games where he's like 3 for 27 because Mecole Hardman had 8 targets and Demarcus Robinson had 2 targets that both went for touchdowns, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams both scored twice. They still put up 40, but they didn't need Tyreek Hill. It's so weird.
Okay. I think I've made my decision. Nope, I did not.
I'm taking Tyreek Hill.
I think I am too, but like if we were like right before week 1, like if this was a time where we needed to set lineups, I had no running backs on my team because I usually don't. And it seems like Elijah Mitchell will be the starting running back in San Francisco. I think I would easily do this trade to get Chris Godwin and Elijah Mitchell. But right now, where we are, I think it's Hill, because I think if I decide to trade Hill, I can do better than Chris Godwin and Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I'm in the same boat. Like, I would have accepted this trade probably up until about like 2 weeks ago. Like, I would have taken the Godwin Mitchell side basically all 2021 season minus up until Chris Godwin's ACL.
Yeah.
And then I would agree, like you said, like you know, with Godwin on the cusp of coming back right before the season started, we're in August. Elijah Mitchell is still the guy. I would probably do this trade then too. But right now, I would take Tyreek Hill because, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with Chris Godwin's free agency. I don't know what's going to happen with Elijah Mitchell. I feel like I'm confident in my prediction on what's going to happen to both of them, but the NFL is weird and something might actually happen. And Tyreek Hill is just so safe because you know what Tyreek Hill is. You know he's going to be on the Chiefs. You know that he's going to be with Patrick Mahomes, and like nothing is going to change that. And he is always going to be valued as a top 5, borderline top 5 dynasty wide receiver from now until the start of the season, unless something crazy happens to him, like he gets Cam Akers. But, you know, on the off chance that happens, you're getting one of the most stable assets in dynasty.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. All right. So before I scroll down, you said you were joking about what the last piece was going to be. And first in my head, the first thing that popped up after I saw it was A-Rob and Godwin. I'm like, wait, is Gesicki or like KJ Hamler or like did Deshaun Hamilton make a comeback to like a full-on Penn State show?
Gesicki is a free agent.
Is he? All right, then yeah, we totally should have done that.
Actually, what was really interesting about Gesicki was a report came out that said that he was not going to sign back in Miami if Brian Flores was still the head coach.
Oh, I did not see that. Okay.
Yeah, that
so
was like
he
really
signs
weird.
back now because I like him there.
Yeah, I should have done that. That would have been really funny if I did an all Penn State show.
All right, but I did just scroll down and I see that the title of the next section is Remaining Free Agents. You joked about finding a trade with multiple of these. How many?
No, so basically what I did here is there was a multitude of wide receivers left that we could have talked about.
Okay, so this didn't really happen. You just put this in yourself.
Yes.
Because if there was literally a trade with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the remaining free agent wide receivers, like I would have to just DM or email someone and say thank you for the content, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah. No, yeah. What I did here was we were talking back and forth, like, you know, after last week's show and we had Godwin and A-Rob, we were like, all right, who's the third guy? Because we usually do it in triples. Mm-hmm. So we were talking through, you know, OBJ and Christian Kirk, a bunch of other guys like that. And they all just seem kind of in the same range of values. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to find something for one of them to talk about from the Trade Finder. But fun fact, nobody's really trading for these guys because I scrolled down once and I'm like past Thanksgiving. And I feel like those values are like a little outdated. These players are all players that when they are involved in a trade, they are the second piece in a 2-for-1 or the third piece in a 3-for-2. They're more of a throw in than a main part of the deal. So what I did here was I basically just put the remaining 5 interesting free agents and put what their closest pick value would be like right across from them. So you can kind of read it that way.
Okay. But I mean, first, let's just give a list of the players. Mm-hmm. Michael Gallup, Odell Beckham, Christian Kirk, DJ Chark, and Will Fuller. So those are the 5 that we were trying to decide who to pick from. And now I guess let's go one for one. Michael Gallup comes in the analyzer in a 12-team Superflex league because that's pretty much base at this point, right? Mm-hmm. He comes in at 118.1, and the closest pick value is a 22 mid-second at 113.5. Again, this is the same thing with Gallup. Like, I wonder what his value would be if he didn't just get hurt. Like, Michael Gallup, again, would have been one of the top wide receivers available in both the NFL and fantasy. And he tore his ACL, right? Like last week or the week before. So, I mean, he's not going to be ready until 3/4 away through the season. And that's like just getting back on the field.
Yeah, I got to wonder if he just stays in Dallas, signs
a 1-year deal for whatever he can get.
Yeah, just basically like what Will Fuller did in Miami, but just kind of stays in Dallas and then shows that he's healthy at the end of the year next year, maybe in the playoffs in 2022, and gets a better deal next year.
Probably. So would you pay a mid-second for Michael Gallup pretty much to hold him on your team for a year?
Nope. I would take the second.
I think I would take the second too. And honestly, if he were healthy, I probably would hold Gallup at that value. But situation being what it is, I can do something better with the pick, I think.
Yeah, he's not going to do anything for a year. Like, that's basically how we have to treat him.
And next year with the stronger pick values, because everyone believes that draft is going to be so much better in 23, I feel like you won't be able to get a mid-second then. So take a mid-second now, do something with that mid-second that you probably can't do with Gallup, because everyone knows that he's hurt. Everyone knows that he's out. Everyone knows that they're not going to get anything, no value increase and no production for 8 to 12 months.
Right.
I mean, it's rough. I mean, it is a little rough. Next, we have Odell Beckham. He is 115.3, which again, mid-second. I want him to stay in LA. With Robert, like, honestly, I kind of think Robert Woods is mostly done at this point. A 39-year-old. What did he like?
What is he at? Because I know he just signed a contract pretty recently as well. Like, he's still on the Rams.
Ago. I think he's 31, 32.
And he's 29 this year.
Oh, is he? Okay,
30 next year, and they do have a potential out on his contract. I mean, they can cut him and save $3 million this year, but 2023 they can cut him and save 10, and then it just kind of goes down from there.
Yeah.
So
but I'm going to assume that Robert Woods is not what he was. I'm going to assume that they don't think Van Jefferson is going to take that next step, in which case they need Odell Beckham, unless they go and sign someone else in free agency or draft someone with decent capital. But I like the idea of Odell Beckham there, because Odell Beckham is still a very good, talented wide receiver. He just hasn't found his way into being a low-key human being on a good offense. Is that the best way to put it? So, like, I think with an off season and the beginning of a season to actually work with Stafford and actually get used to everything and everyone in LA, he won't be Odell Beckham of 2014, 2015, but he could still be super solid mid-low end wide receiver too. And for a mid-second, that's pretty cool. Now, would I send that now? No, I don't think so. But like the second he re-signs, and if I still could get him for a mid-second, which I think is likely, because I don't know if many people believe in Odell Beckham much anymore, I think I would spend a mid-second to take that risk that he might be awesome.
I think I hold OBJ at that second round pick, and I think I would buy him at a mid-second as well. Just because I do think that he stays in LA. That seems like the kind of situation that Odell likes as like the New York of the West Coast. But then also the Rams like to do, because you know how the Rams are with, they just take on every single free agent veteran who's used to be awesome and makes them awesome again. So I think that he stays on and is an LA Ram, and I'll buy that as a second round pick. I think that value would hold with him being there.
Yeah, I didn't mute my mic in time, but you see my dog is very much on your side.
Yeah,
she's just going nuts. Yeah, Odell. That's I muted it. You couldn't hear it. Yeah, it was, but that's exactly what she said. This next one is interesting to me. It's Christian Kirk, who comes in at 92.8 for a late second of 80.8. He's infuriating. He came into the league and it's just like, okay, this dude could be a very good slot receiver. This dude is talented. He's good. They were in a really weird place when he came in, and all of that stuff. But he'll take 3 games a year and go for 120 and 2 and then do a few games of nothing. Like, there's a lot of variance in what he does, but for a late second, I take that, especially if he leaves or especially if he goes. Either way, like, I think if he stays, that's awesome, because that offense is good. And DeAndre gets a year older. AJ Green, I don't know.
Also a free agent, by the way.
Okay, I was about to say, but at his age, you age 3 years at a time anyway. And
Dang.
I don't even know what that means. So I think that raises the ability for Kirk and Rondale Moore to up their target share. Now, again, pure speculative, pure narrative, nothing behind it, but it makes sense, right? And that's all we have right now is speculation. So this is the kind of dart throw I like, and especially in a year that has second round wide receivers. I'll take the guy I've seen have the ability to maybe do it before, especially if you felt like waiting to see where he landed. But I think if Kirk lands I hate going back to like Green Bay all the time, but like imagine if Rodgers stays and there's Adams there and Kirk is their wide receiver too, or If Kirk goes to, no, I'm completely blanking.
He needs to go somewhere. He needs to be utilized like Tyler Lockett, to be honest with you. Like that's basically what he is like a lighter version of Tyler Lockett. So like,
Well,
if he
like
could land somewhere,
New England.
Oh, like the upgrade over like Aguilar or
he's
Bourne?
A better version of everyone they have.
Yeah,
and I know
throw a deep ball.
But it's really funny. We're so used to saying everyone to New England, but now it's everyone to Tampa, because it really is just everyone following the winning of Brady. But like, to me, that would work, and I would be super. I would probably easily buy for a late second at that point. But anyone goes to New England, I think it's off the charts at that point, and you're not gonna be able to do it.
Yeah, I think you just hope that he stays in Arizona and AJ Green's not there, because then you're still in the offense. You're still with Kyler, and I think that's probably best case scenario for him.
I think so too. The next one we have is DJ Chark. Do you don't have kids? Do so it's not as bad for you. Okay, I'm gonna stop that now. DJ Chark comes in at 52.1, which is an early third.
Oof.
I would easily pay an early third for DJ Chark. Now, look. Yeah. His career has been really weird, because he was drafted in the second, did absolutely nothing his rookie year, exploded his sophomore year, and then nothing really after that.
Didn't do anything his third year, and then broke his ankle in like week 4 this year. So.
Exactly, right? But like he's 55, 25. I combined his analyzer score with his age on that one, and
55.
Nice. Urban's gone. Urban Meyer's gone. So
no,
automatic.
He's not staying in Jacksonville. There's no way he's in Jacksonville next year.
Just saying.
There's no way.
On the pure chance, I'm putting all of the options out there. He's everything in that offense is automatically boosted now that Urban Meyer is gone. He goes anywhere else, an early third is like nothing for a guy we've seen be even like, I don't even remember how well he did, but he could walk into a good offense and be top 24. Or like, even if he's top 30, a third is a pretty easy price to pay for that. Like, I would go pay that right now for the speculation of where he might go.
How high would you go? Would you go up to like mid-second? Like 207? Would you go that high?
Probably the 207. Yeah. When we start getting into the 2.0s, it makes me want to wait a little longer to learn more about the wide receivers coming out. But again, we're talking about a 25-year-old who we've seen do it before, which is my exact defense in the Christian Kirk case, because we're lawyers now, and that's how I worded that. So my wife will be so proud. All right. So yeah, I guess I would. Like, the 207, I think I would definitely feel okay sending for DJ Chark. When I get on the clock, probably not, because I'll have that rookie itch. But like right now, I think I would send, if I have it, because we know where our picks are, I would send the 207 for DJ Chark right now.
I think he should just follow Al Robinson, and just like, he did his time in Jacksonville. Now he needs to go to Chicago and, do his thing there. And then in 3 or 4 years, he's out of there because he's mad at Chicago.
Yep.
But that if he goes to Chicago, I think that I would really be in on that as the wide receiver 1B to Darnell Mooney there as the big bodied guy with Justin Fields in a new offense with a new head coach. I'd be in on that.
New offense with Justin Fields.
They need somebody good.
Will Fuller is our last guy on this list, 41.4, which equals a mid-third at 40.9.
Disrespect.
I have no interest in Will Fuller.
Not even for a third?
But like at a mid-third, sure. Like, why not? Like that. Like, the only season Will Fuller stayed healthy was the year he got popped for PEDs. Just gonna put that information out there.
It was the greatest season.
It was such a good year. But like, okay, you put Will Fuller across from DeAndre Hopkins getting thrown the ball by, let's just call him a very good quarterback. Name not necessary because of other circumstances. And yeah, a guy like Will Fuller is going to do great. So much is going to be like, he's going to be late career Deshaun Jackson at this point, and he's only 27 as opposed to Deshaun Jackson, who was doing it at 31. So chances are I think the value is right. I think he's probably worth a third at this point. I think it's easy. You won't have people hating thirds. You'll have people hate Will Fuller.
Yeah. Yeah. That made me really sad because when you said that he's late career Deshaun Jackson, because it does feel like he's past that point now where his skill set and his lack of availability just means that he has more NFL value than fantasy value. So whenever he can just be on a team and just stretch the field, I think he could honestly, I think what he wants to do is wait to see if Deshaun Watson gets traded, where
That's a
Deshaun
smart
Watson
move,
goes,
and
and
try
then
and go there
signs
for
with
cheap.
that team. Yeah,
That's actually a very good move. Yeah, that's smart.
that would be
Get
that would
on
be
the phone.
move.
Get on the
Yeah.
phone. Call Will.
Or he should go to like Vegas, to replace Ruggs and be the deep threat there. That would work.
Don't take away from my Hunter Renfrow. They don't need it. All right, we're going to move on to horrible trades now. And this is a 14-team Superflex trade of Allen Robinson and Melvin Gordon for a 22-second Adam Troutman and Cedric Wilson.
I was surprised it was as close as it was.
Wow. So Allen Robinson and Melvin Gordon for, let's face it, for a second. That... Okay, so here's why this hurts on multiple levels. See, my dog's hurt also. I know, you see me sad and it hurts you. I know. Allen Robinson is worth more than a second. We've talked about that already. I paid a second for Melvin Gordon in a lot of leagues at the end of last year, and I know that's for scoring points because he had that really nice schedule. But like the fact that I did just do that 2-3 weeks ago, and now him and A-Rob are going for a second because Adam Troutman and Cedric Wilson is at 7.9, by the way. Adam Troutman, for some reason, is worth 50. Sure. And Melvin Gordon, honestly, 75.4 is ridiculous with how well he's still playing. The fact that he's 28 is really the only reason he has zero. Well, I can't say zero value. The only reason he has 75.4 value in the analyzer, like it should be higher. So, yeah, this is. I don't care. Like, I get it. You're rebuilding. You want to get younger. That's awesome.
Not like
It's January. There's no rush. There's no reason to do this right now. Selling A-Rob for a second won't go away. Selling Melvin Gordon for Adam Troutman and Cedric Wilson won't go away. If that's really what you felt like you needed to do, I think you could do better. The second, Melvin Gordon is going to sign somewhere, whether he stays in Denver or goes to a different situation where he's still going to be part of that committee, which he has shown he's capable of. So he really should get that role. You'll be able to get a second for him once the season comes around anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So no. And especially because this could, did you look to see what second this was? Like, imagine if this was like the 214.
Oh man.
Because we're talking about like the 14 team. So this is later than what we normally think of. Because I said before that 12 team is pretty much our base.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Cause like the 2.01 is the 2.03.
Yeah.
Right.
Already. Yeah.
So it's a very low second. This is a weird like 2-division league.
Oh.
But yeah, it looks like he was like the 4th or 5th best team in the league.
Oy. No, so that's bad.
So that's
we're talking like the 2, 8, 9, 10 area.
Yeah, in a 14 team.
No, thank you. Dynasty Trade Show, DLF Dynasty Trade Show. Russ Fisher at Dynasty Outhouse. Addison Hayes at AmazeHayes_. We will see you next time, not with more free agent wide receivers.
Yes.